Hello and welcome to the Charity Show Bites, your snack-sized serving of stories, insights and inspiration from across the UK charity sector. I'm Tim Bainan.
And I'm Piers Townley. This week we're raising a cup of tea, or possibly something stronger, to the stars of Volunteers Week 2025, the incredible people who give up their time to make life better for others.
That's right, and we've pulled together some brilliant, surprising and genuinely moving volunteer stories from news archives across the country. And whether your charity already embraces volunteering or is looking to expand, we think you'll find something here to warm your heart, or maybe spark an idea or two.
Let's start with Joe Fitzpatrick, who in June 2024 joined a community archaeology dig at East Lomond Hill Fort in Fife. It was run by the Falkland Stewardship Trust and the University of Aberdeen, and during the dig, Joe uncovered a rare bronze Pictish spear butt. This thing dates back to somewhere between the 2nd and 7th centuries AD, so an incredible find there on an afternoon out. Joe said that the moment he realised what he found, it was electrifying, and this rush of energy and wonder. It's a perfect example of how volunteers can play a genuine role in uncovering our shared past and maybe even rewriting parts of it.
Nice one. Would you know what a Pictish spear butt is if you fell over it?
Absolutely, of course. I don't know what that is at all, but I can imagine what it looks like. We'll Google it after this.
I'd love to be electrified by discovering a Pictish spear butt, whatever that is. That sounds great. But
I've never done it, but I'd like to go on a little dig. I think it always looks good. I think just the patience and the little digging around, I think it would be a fascinating thing to do.
You've just watched
to-do list, I think.
You've just watched Jurassic Park too many times.
A bit of that and a bit of the Detectorists. That's what it is.
Oh, true. Yeah,
incredible stories.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Josh Goodall. Now, in May 2024, Josh, who's the Managing Director of Education and Children's Services at the National Autistic Society, volunteered at the RHS Chelsea Flower Show, which I think you went to last year. Didn't you, Peter? Remember?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Along with Nicky Chapman. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Really loved it. First time I'd ever been. Eye-opener. Great thing.
Excellent. Well, still on my to-do list. Anyway, it was a personal passion project for Josh, who's a massive plant enthusiast. And Josh spent the week chatting to visitors at the NAS garden, explaining its theme and how it reflected autistic perspectives. He said it was a joy to connect with people in that setting and to share more about the charity's work in a really accessible, informal way. So great idea. Fantastic piece of volunteering. Nice one, Josh.
And over to South London. I love this story because I think it encapsulates so much what we often hear from volunteers and what a volunteering role does give back to people. So in South London, Kath Samuels volunteers as the shop leader at Save the Children's Eltham branch. She's been doing it since late 2023, and she says quite honestly that volunteering saved her. Kath calls it her addiction, in her quotes, in the best way. It's helped her rebuild confidence, connect with people, and find a rhythm and purpose in daily life. Her story is such a great reminder that volunteering isn't a one-way street. It can offer so much to the volunteer too, and you must find this with your organisation, Braintree Charity. You get this with our volunteers as well. It's an incredible thing to be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think volunteering is addictive. I think it is something that it's hard to walk away from when you get stuck into it. I know that's saying now I volunteer at my running club, sit on the committee and help where I can. And it is addictive. You really want to see that thing that you're a part of succeed and do good. So yeah, I totally get that. Now, next up, we have a story that you might be familiar with, Piers, actually, and I'll come back to you in a second. After losing her mum, tragically, to a brain tumour, Birgit Aluwalia, I hope I pronounced that right, you can correct me in a minute, Piers, began volunteering with the Brain Tumour Charity in early 2024. Since then, she's helped shape their strategy and recently spoke at a moving fundraising event hosted by the Atwal family, who also sadly lost a loved one. Public speaking was way outside her comfort zone, but Birgit rose to the occasion, sharing the charity's powerful living longer and better vision and reconnecting with her culture and heritage in the process. An inspiring story of turning grief into action, and one probably, Piers, that you're more qualified to pass judgment on than I am. So tell us what your thoughts are on that one.
Oh, I am. Yes, I know. We know Birgit so well. Her mother tragically died of a glioblastoma brain tumour, which is a very poor prognosis, brain tumour, very devastating thing to have to face as a family. But Birgit has been absolutely key to shaping our strategy over the last couple of years. And she also took part in our big Westminster policy call for a national brain tumour strategy, which happened in Westminster last year. And she was one of 34 families that have been affected by a brain tumour, the 34 representing that amount of people that get diagnosed with a brain tumour each day in the UK. So yes, as one of our volunteers, one of our key members of all the work we do, Birgit is just, and her family are just incredible supporters.
Amazing stuff. Who have you got next?
Next, we're going up north to Doncaster. And back in April 2022, Doncaster launched a volunteer-led initiative that's still going strong. It's called the Literacy Champions. And there are 58 of them now, working across the city to get people, to inspire people, especially children, into reading. They've handed out more than 8,000 books, set up community shelves, and run all sorts of reading events. It's part of the National Literacy Trust's Doncaster Stories campaign. The goal of this is to boost literacy, confidence, job prospects, and joy. It's as simple as that. And it's something we talk about time and time again. The power of books, the power of storytelling, a fantastic initiative up there. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's amazing. 8,000 books. Literacy Champions, entirely volunteer-led initiative. Good on them. Well done, Doncaster. Okay, I'm coming back down south to Sutton now, and since its founding back in Sutton Community Farm has been powered by volunteers. And in spring 2025, a few of them, Jean Hart, Birgit, Bodica, Rowan Milson and Geraldine Fogarty shared on a news story about why they kept coming back. They're involved in everything from crop planting to veg box packing and site maintenance. That sounds like a tongue twister there. One of them in this article put it perfectly. They said it ticks all the boxes: friendly, welcoming, and so many different ways to get involved. A living, growing example of community in action. An amazing initiative. Sounds fantastic. I love the idea of a community farm. Sounds fantastic to be able to sort of grow stuff in your back garden and wherever you're growing it, and then also to share it with your local community. Amazing, sort of back to nature, back to earth, proper sort of volunteering and giving back to the community in a very healthy, organic way. Good stuff.
I do love a good city farm story. Back when we lived in London, we were regulars when the kids were very small at Hackney City Farm, which I think, I'm not sure if it's still a charity, was a charity, but again, a fantastic experience. Really good community cohesion and getting everyone involved in some really amazing work there. So yeah, big up to all the city farms out there.
Nice.
So my last one is up to Scarborough again. And finally, we've got Jonathan Keir, who has been volunteering with Dial a Ride up in Scarborough since 2013. So a good long decade or so. After a career in international catering and hospitality, Jonathan decided to do something closer to home and to the heart. He drives minibuses for older and disabled residents, helping them get to appointments, social events and shopping trips. It's all about keeping people connected and independent. He's been doing it for 11 years now and says he still gets something out of every single shift. So a fantastic community action there.
Brilliant. I love that. It's simple things like doing people's shopping for them, giving people lifts. So, Elaine, I love that kind of stuff.
We saw a lot of this during COVID, didn't we? We saw a lot of this when there was a big call, wasn't there, for volunteers for the NHS and stuff. So you could then actually get involved at a very grassroots level, helping out the communities. So it's kind of an extension of that, and long may it grow and continue.
But also, I think volunteering for charities, volunteering for organisations is great. But also just volunteering to support the people in your local community, regardless of whether or not you're doing it for a charity, is definitely. Is commendable and just helping people out. I always remember actually my grandparents when they were alive. I remember my nan was in her 90s or whatever, and there was another ancient old lady who lived 2 doors down from her. It was in her hundreds, like 102 or something like that. Anyway, so my nan, who was in her 90s, would do the shopping for this lady who lived 2 doors down, because she'd call her the old lady next door. Even though my nan was 90 odd herself at the time or whatever, she'd still go and do the shopping for this old dear who lived two doors down. It was hilarious. But anyway, there you go. So volunteering in a way. So there you go, just helping out your local community, regardless of your age. And finally, Piers, I've got an amazing story here. Here's one from Norfolk. that proves volunteering doesn't actually always quite go to plan, but can still be wildly rewarding. Back in August 2024, a group of volunteers from a local animal rescue centre signed up for what sounded like a simple task: escorting a dozen rescue cats to a mobile adoption event. But what they didn't anticipate was one particularly feisty feline named Buttons, who managed to open her carrier mid-transit. So, cue total absolute chaos in the back of the minibus. Buttons bolted, 3 more followed. One volunteer ended up scaling a hedgerow with a tin of tuna in hand, apparently, according to this article. It took an hour, a lot of coaxing, and 1 ruined pair of trousers, so we were led to believe. But all cats were recovered, and 2 actually were adopted that very day. So the moral of the story: never underestimate a cat, or indeed a volunteer. So there you go. Doesn't always quite go to plan.
That's almost like a feline blockbuster, that, isn't it? These cats being escorted out and, I don't know, some sort of weird Con Air kind of situation, but for a 4-legged variety. Yeah. I love that story. I love the idea of people scaling hedgerows with cans of tuna in their hands. Surely that's a Wallace and Gromit episode in itself.
Perfect story, that one, to end on.
Let's wrap this up. So there you go. Archaeology, autism advocacy, literary drives, flower shows, and a farm full of veg boxes. Volunteers really are everywhere, doing everything.
And for those of us working in the charity sector, it's a great reminder of just how vital volunteers are and how important it is that we create the right environments for them to thrive.
From support to training to making people feel genuinely valued, so much we can do to make volunteering rewarding and sustainable.
Thanks for joining us on Charity Show Bites. Enjoy Volunteers Week. We'll see you next time with more surprising stories from the third sector.